Hello, everyone, and welcome yet to back another episode of Magic.tv Presents, brought to you by myself, Rob Rubin Readings, and of course, your friends at Magic.tv. And due to the success of the last episode, we are once again doing an episode of the top picks of Magic.tv guests brought to you by Magic.tv. Once again, this is brought to you by our friends at Anathema Publishing Limited. Some amazing occult and esoteric books you can really find on that page. Check them out. But today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing three of the recent guests of Magic.tv who have had more than one book published. That we will be giving our own personal picks as to which book we choose and would recommend to you, the viewing audience. Now, this does not necessarily mean that one book is better than the other, but it's my own personal pick as a scholar of the occult that I would like to recommend to people. Starting off with our recent guest, Frater Ashen Chasan. Now, as the author of two interesting books, he started with his book, Gateways of Stone and Circle, or Through Stone and Circle. But to say that this is the book that encapsulate Frater Ashen Chasan's discipline and eloquence as a magical practitioner. The book that I personally would recommend to each and every one of you would be Gateways Through Light and Shadow. Now, why do I say this? Because the Gateway Through Stone and Circle book was more about his scrying approach and drawing uh, spirits into crystals, which was fantastic. But as an old fan of his from the occult forums, I've always observed how much detail and discipline he puts into his practices, and it could not be even better exemplified than the way he did through Gateways Through Light and Shadow. So if you really want to do a deep dive into the evocatory and magical practices of Frater Ashen Chasan, Gateway Through Light and Shadow is the pick for you. Because going next to our recent guest from season two, the ever so eloquent and ever so knowledgeable Jason Augustus Nooncomb, a lot of books of his have had a positive impact on me. And a lot of people would say, well, the 21st Century Mage must be it. But there is one book that he wrote that trumps even the 21st Century Mage. And that's none other than The New Hermetics. Now, why did I choose The New Hermetics over his 21st Century Mage? Because not everybody is ready for the Holy Guardian Angel experience. And if that is the only thing, if you're only reading the 21st Century Mage, then that's pretty much the only angle in which you'll get. However, The New Hermetics is a beautiful, beautiful compilation of Hermetic thought, belief, and practice with essentials in ritual magic, or as he calls it, 21st century magic for illumination and power. He takes magic and makes it more of a technology than anything else. And the combination of personalized rituals and, of course, dated but workable ideologies make for a very powerful start. So the 21st century mage is my personal pick for Jason Augustus Newcomb. Now, last but not least, the ever so knowledgeable Phil Hine. Now, of course, a lot of people will once again jump the gun and say, oh, Phil Hine, for those who know him, that's condensed chaos all day. But I would have said that 3 months ago. But as of late, I have personally fallen in love with Phil Hine's Pseudonomicon. Now, why did I fall in love with Phil Hine's Pseudonomicon? First and foremost, it's an easy read. And I can literally hear the voice of Phil Hine talking about glassy yellow bowlers, as we discussed with him and Wade as the AI mispronounced glassy yellow bolas. But more importantly, what I like about this book was he gave a very technical approach of working with something that I've always been interested in, which was the Necronomicon deities and mythos. And he's given his own history on magical practice on how he would have personally done it. But one thing he said about it was it cannot be contained into a framework. And he allows the openness of eclectic practice with an individual, but at the same time, he gives his own 2 cents into the topic, and he makes it not only knowledgeable but even a fun read. I mean, I really love this book. It's all obviously it's been well read. I only had it for less than a month, but I really bring this around with because I'm always amazed to see what I can pick about this. Now, of course, some of you may be wondering, well, what about the books written by Foolish Fish, aka Denis, which I don't have yet, or Marco Visconti? Great authors, but unfortunately, they've only had one book to date. So I really can't say, well, the best, because to be obvious, that's the only one they have. But as more of their books come out, I'll be able to contrast what my personal pick is. It doesn't mean that they have any bad works, but this is just kind of the one that like I'd personally want to keep in my collection or focus on as my own personal preference. So put in your comments, what books do you like about the three authors we discussed? I'd love to hear because for all you know, you personally have read a book of his that I haven't gotten to touch. Please share your comments below and of course like and subscribe to Magic.tea on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. Ciao and be peaceful.